Title: The Duchess Who Became a Spy. Chapter 1: The Murder of the Duke. The grand halls of Ravenwood Manor were filled with laughter, music, and candlelight as the aristocrats danced the night away. Lady Evelina Hadley, Duchess of Ravenwood, stood at the top of the grand staircase, her heart swelling with pride as she watched her husband, Duke Adrian Hadley, entertaining their esteemed guests. The evening was perfect, or so it seemed. But beneath the surface of elegance and grace, a storm was brewing. Later that night, the celebrations came to an abrupt end. The Duke was found dead in his study, his body cold and lifeless, with no signs of struggle. Poison, they said. Evelina's world shattered in that moment. The love of her life was gone, and with him, the future she had dreamed of. The court ruled it an unfortunate accident, but whispers of foul play spread through the corridors of power. The Duke had been involved in something dark, something dangerous. Evelina could feel it. Grief-stricken and left with nothing but rumors, she vowed to find out the truth behind her husband's untimely death. But the deeper she dug, the more elusive the answers became. Chapter 2: The Hidden World. Weeks passed, and as the mourning period ended, Evelina's world began to collapse. The estate was seized by the crown due to mounting debts Adrian had hidden from her, and his once loyal allies turned their backs on her. Stripped of her title and wealth, Evelina was left with nothing but questions and a burning desire for justice. In a moment of desperation, she turned to her husband's old journals and letters, hoping to uncover anything that could explain his death. What she found instead was a series of cryptic messages and hidden codes that revealed Adrian had been more than just a duke. He had been working as a spy for the crown, involved in a covert operation to expose a treasonous faction within the kingdom. Determined to follow in his footsteps, Evelina cut her ties with the aristocracy, adopting the guise of a commoner. With the help of her husband's old contacts, she began her training as a spy, learning the art of deception, manipulation, and combat. Though the road was treacherous, Evelina was driven by a singular goal: to uncover the truth and bring her husband's killers to justice. Chapter 3: The Rogue Spy. As Evelina navigated her new life in the underworld, she encountered Captain Alexander Quinn, a notorious rogue spy who had once been a trusted agent of the crown. Now, he operated in the shadows, working for whoever paid the highest price. Rumor had it that he had information about the very faction Adrian had been investigating. Their first meeting was anything but cordial. Evelina, disguised as a barmaid, tried to gather information on Alexander at a crowded tavern. But the man was as sharp as he was dangerous, and he quickly saw through her act. A tense confrontation ensued, with Alexander threatening to expose her unless she left the city. But Evelina, undeterred, revealed her true identity as the fallen Duchess of Ravenwood, and the two formed a reluctant alliance. Though Alexander had his own reasons for pursuing the treasonous faction, he admired Evelina's determination and skill. Together, they uncovered a secret plot that reached the highest levels of the Empire's government, a plot that could lead to war if left unchecked. Chapter 4: The Web of Deceit. As Evelina and Alexander worked together, they found themselves entangled in a web of deceit, where allies were enemies and enemies were friends. The traitorous faction, led by the ruthless Lord Victor Blackwell, had infiltrated every corner of the Empire, and no one could be trusted. Evelina's former life as a duchess became a distant memory as she embraced her role as a spy. She infiltrated ballrooms, gambling dens, and underground meetings, using her wit and charm to gather intelligence. But the more she uncovered, the more dangerous her mission became. Lord Blackwell was onto her, and his spies were closing in. Despite the danger, Evelina's feelings for Alexander began to grow. The once aloof rogue revealed a softer side, a man haunted by his own tragic past. But their burgeoning romance was complicated by the secrets they both carried. Evelina still harbored guilt over her husband's death, while Alexander's loyalties remained unclear. Chapter 5: Betrayal and Revelation. Just as Evelina and Alexander made significant progress in their mission, disaster struck. A trusted ally betrayed them, leading to a deadly ambush that left Alexander gravely wounded and Evelina captured by Lord Blackwell's men. In captivity, Evelina faced her greatest test. Blackwell revealed the shocking truth: Adrian had been working with the traitors all along. He had double-crossed the crown, selling state secrets for personal gain. The discovery shattered Evelina's perception of her late husband and left her questioning everything she thought she knew. But there was more. Blackwell offered her a deal, her freedom and her old life back in exchange for her loyalty. The offer was tempting, but Evelina's loyalty was no longer for sale. She refused, vowing to bring Blackwell to justice, even if it meant facing her own painful truths. Chapter 6: The Final Showdown. Evelina escaped captivity with the help of Alexander, who had recovered from his wounds. Together, they launched a daring plan to expose Blackwell and his faction to the crown. The final showdown took place at a grand ball, where Evelina, dressed once again as the Duchess of Ravenwood, infiltrated the nobility to confront Blackwell and his conspirators. With Alexander at her side, Evelina revealed the traitors' plans to the court, turning the tide of power against them. Blackwell, desperate and cornered, tried to flee, but Evelina, now a trained spy, was one step ahead. In a climactic battle, she defeated him, finally avenging her husband's death and saving the kingdom from ruin. Epilogue: A New Beginning. With Blackwell defeated and the traitors exposed, Evelina was hailed as a hero by the crown. She was offered a chance to reclaim her title and her place in society, but she declined. The life of a duchess no longer suited her. Instead, she chose a new path, a life as a spy, dedicated to protecting the kingdom from the shadows. And by her side was Alexander, the rogue who had become her partner in both espionage and love. Their journey had been long and fraught with danger, but Evelina had found something more valuable than her title. She had found her true calling. The end.